Hello there. Wow, how are you guys? It's been so long, like a couple of weeks. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm gonna start by washing my hands and also getting an apron. I'm underdressed. Oh, you never fully dressed without your apron. Mine's underneath my backpack. I don't want yours. All right, hello, it's me, Dorothy. I'm here to talk about grinders because they are a really important part of your coffee experience and making sure that that coffee experience is a good one. I'm here today with Steph, minding the monitor. She's going to be helping me answer your guys' questions if you have any about grinders at all, or if you want to tell us that you love us and you miss us and we make the best Americanos, kind of like this one. Or if you just want to pop in and say, hello, I'm watching, that's awesome too. It's a nice little way to communicate right now. So there will be a little bit of a lag when you comment between your comment, her seeing it, and getting it to me, but we will answer it, so please stay online. We got a lot of fun things to talk about. First and foremost, I wanted to talk about blade versus burr in a grinder. So I'm going to use this Bodum Burr electric grinder to show you guys what I'm talking about. This is like the fanciest, most comprehensive grinder that we have. I always recommend this one because it does everything, which is my favorite because I don't want multiple gadgets. I just want one that does all the stuff. So what I mean when I'm talking about a burr grinder is this thing right here. You can see that's got a bunch of like little chunks in it, and it will crush the beans instead of whipping them around. If you saw in our promo, the picture that we used was actually of a blade grinder, and that was a trick. It was a red herring. We don't sell any of those here because the problem with blade grinders is that you get a really inconsistent grind. It's like slap chopping your beans, and not sponsored at all, but in case they want to, that's fine too. Whereas this is going to be crushing the beans, grinding them up into a really consistent granule size. The grind size will be very consistent, which will help you have really consistent flavor in your cup of coffee. And you actually, like, that's one of the things that you'll notice most when you're drinking your coffee. It will be the beans, the water, the brew type, and the grind. Those are going to be things that really impact the flavor. Vivian says hi. Oh, hey Vivian, thanks for tuning in. One of the other things that I like about this one is that you can see here there's multiple grind settings on it. So you can do as coarse as French press all the way down to espresso, which brings me to my next point. What the heck are the different grinds? What does that mean? Do I have to grind my coffee for French press if I'm using a French press? Can I use drip coffee in my AeroPress? No and yes are the answers respectively. So you can choose to grind your coffee differently than the brewer style that you're using, and some brewers are a little bit more forgiving for that. The French press, for example, it will still work with finer coffee, but you'll get more of that muddiness at the bottom. So if you're using drip coffee like you're getting at the grocery store, you'll notice that the bottom of your cup, it gets pretty silty. And that's not really a problem of French press so much as the grind style. So if you're grinding it, if you get coffee from us, you can request French press ground coffee, and that'll reduce that muddiness, although probably not eliminate it entirely. AeroPress is also pretty forgiving, and same with drip coffee. You can put coarser coffee in, but I wouldn't put finer coffee in. It could be a little finicky that way. Espresso, you definitely want to have the right grind, because otherwise it's going to make your espresso taste really weird. It could explode out the top. Same with Keurig. It can be a little exciting with our refillable grind cup. So that's a pretty awesome thing to know. The other good thing about this one that I really like is that you can adjust the time for how long it's grinding. So when you set it in, you set it to go, you just turn it on in the morning, it does its thing. It will grind, for example, for 10 seconds, and you'll know that that is as much as it takes to fill up your 3-cup French press. That's how much you like it to be. And then it'll be perfect. You'll have the little amount in your cup, and you can just dump it in your French press, you pour your water, and you're good to go. Oh, you guys can hear the phones are ringing, so we still have our phone-in service. If you phone in your order or order online, we can deliver it to you usually the same day, if not as early as the next day. And that's pretty awesome. Not a lot of places are able to do that, so we think we're pretty cool. I get to drive around and see all your smiling faces on your doorstep. It's like a coffee delivery by Ding Dong Ditching all the time. It's pretty awesome. The other way that you're going to soon be able to order is by doing parking lot pickup. We're going back to doing curbside, but there's a few rules and regulations around this just to keep it fun and exciting, because I know everyone loves rules. We are starting at 11 a.m. You'll be able to do your first pickup of the day. So for example, if you wanted to do set up a pickup for Monday, we could start doing that for you 11. That just gives us a chance to catch up on orders from the previous day. And the other thing too is that we need to get your order 2 hours in advance. So if you pull up into the parking lot and you're like, hey, Coppers, my favorite friends, I would really like to order some coffee. I'm here in your parking lot. We'd be like, sure thing. That sounds awesome. We'll be out in 2 hours. So maybe factor that in with some of your ordering. And you can still call in those curbside. That will be set up online as well. So starting Sunday, if you're ordering online, you'll be able to have that as an option as well. It won't be available right now, but we're setting that up as we speak. So you can look forward to that again very soon. And there'll be a lot of fun signage, as Coppers always does. You have that to look forward to as well. Feel free if you have any questions around the parking lot pickup before Monday, or even on Monday after, let us know. We're happy to help with those questions. A little more about grinders. The other options that we have in addition to this Bodum Bistro grinder, which is $149.95 for the plain matte colors and $168.95 for the silver and the copper ones that I showed you here. The other ones that we have are hand grinders. So we've got this one, which is the Grosch Bremen. It comes in this fancy zippy red, or this kind of like dusty blue-gray. And as always, Grosch is really awesome. They put money from their sales towards providing water to communities that don't have access to safe and clean drinking water. These ones are pretty cool because it's a little hand grinder. So again, I always like to incorporate that workout component because I'm really not about working out, and I want it to just feel like whatever I'm doing in my normal day is workout, and that's good enough. So this one, you get that little arm workout. It's pretty awesome. This is another burr grinder, so it's pretty cool. You get that consistent grind I was talking about before. I'm just going to dump all the beans on the counter. It's ceramic burrs instead of the metal burrs in the other one, so it can absorb a little bit more of the flavor. But it's super easy to clean. It's really awesome. I'm going to make a mess here. You can see that's pretty coarsely ground. That's awesome. And the other nice thing about this one is it comes with a little cap, so you can cap up your coffee and have it stay fresh. If you don't want to grind every morning, you can grind up a little bit extra or take it with you camping or whatever if you're going away for the weekend. Don't do that. Stay home.
Vivian wants to know how the grinded coffee affects the flavor of your cup of coffee.
Ooh.
Grinds.
Great question.
And Leanne said she received her order and she loved it so much.
Oh, thanks, Leanne. I'm glad you loved your order. We loved that you ordered from us. Thank you. And Vivian, great question about the grinds. It will impact your flavor because the more... So, okay, it's going to get a little technical here. The finer the grind, the greater the surface area available for the water to interact with those granules, so you get more flavor the finer the grind. And that's why people find that espresso is so much more robust in flavor. It has a lot to do with the pressure, but it also has a lot to do with how much of the surface area of that ground bean is available for the water to interact with. So for things like French press, when you have a coarser grind, that's part of why you want to let it sit a little bit longer so it can get that flavor, because for the water to permeate and be able to extract that flavor into your coffee, it has to be interacting for a little bit longer. So I hope that answers your question. It's tricky because while the grind does impact the flavor, it's also, for a lot of brewers, necessary to use a certain grind. Oh, while I'm telling this story, I'm also breaking this so I can show you how to adjust the grind on it. It's not really breaking. So for this, it's got a little topper that I just unscrewed, and then the handle comes off. Pretty sweet. There's a little lock in place, so that keeps your grind where it's at. You take that off, there's a spring in here. This little gear just spins right off there, and then you can pull this part right out. Ta-da! And that's the grinder. It's all, I'm throwing beans all over the place, but that's okay. So this is really nice. You can see that it's got really coarse burrs here and then really fine burrs down at the bottom, so that would really crush that coffee as fine as you'd like it to be. So to adjust the grind on this, other questions?
Yeah, your grandpa says hello, and Lisa says, hi Dorothy, she loves to see your face, and she loves the grinder that you sold her.
Oh, hi Granddad, and also hi Lisa. I'm so glad that both of you guys are watching. This is amazing. I'm so glad that I get to be visiting with you. It's almost like you're here, but we don't have to worry about germs. It's the best. So I've put this back on. I'm just attaching that little gear on top. The tighter it is, the finer the grind it will be. I've actually done this before where I'll have, if someone has bought this and they're not really sure how to adjust it, I've had them come in when the store was open. It might be a little challenging now. And we would grind a little bit of coffee from our grinders and then adjust it here and make sure that those are actually really consistent, because it can be, like with some of those trickier ones, a little finicky. So once you've found the grind that you want on here, you've got the coarseness that you like, you put, oopsies, you put your spring back on there. And I learned this the hard way, put the spring on first and then put this piece on, because what I did was I like jammed it on there and then I was like, oh, sorry customer, I locked up your coffee grinder, let me get you another one. Put that on there and that just holds that gear in place so that your grind is set there. Screw that back on and you're good to go. Ta-da! And I've got one more grinder to show you guys. Well, it's kind of like two. Oh, sorry. This one is $37.95. The most financially available grinder that Cuppers sells. Amazing. Wow. The last but not least are the Porlex tall and mini grinders. These ones are really awesome. They're also burr grinders. They're stainless steel. I'm not going to open them up because they're kind of finicky in the box, but they're really nice. This one has a big long arm on it, and you can grind it really smoothly, and then it has a little portion in the bottom where the grinds can sit, so you can have it pre-ground or you can grind it and go. This one has, it's basically the same, it's just a little bit more stout, and then it's got a little cuff on the side so you can store the handle on the side of it, so it's really good for storage. Obviously you can see it's quite small. Really nice. And both of these ones are $109.95. So this brings me to my next point, how to clean a grinder, because that's going to be important. Coffee beans, as they age, excrete oils. That's part of what gives you the good flavor, is that oily bean. But as much as we love the flavor of an oily bean, the oil can be a nuisance. Any questions or anything going on? Okay, just making sure I'm caught up with you guys. I don't want to feel like you're waiting on me. So in order to clean your grinder, I've done a few different things. One of the things I always recommend that's super accessible, although maybe not right now, is to just run plain, cheap, super cheap, uncooked white rice through your grinder, and that'll help, similar to putting your phone that you've dropped in a puddle into rice. It'll extract the oils from your grinder. And then just as you run any cleaning product or rice or anything through here, what you want to do is run some grinds through a couple of times and then discard those, because you don't want any of that flavor going through. The other option too is we sell these grinds tablets, which is really awesome. They can go right in and it takes away that coffee that's in there. And similar to that, you just want to grind a little bit of coffee and then discard that afterwards as well, because you don't want to be eating any of that chemical. And it's got instructions right on the back here. This is awesome. And we use these here in our store for our grinders, both for the espresso machine and for the coffee that we sell you guys. Keeps them fresh, keeps them frosty, ready to go. That's about it, I think, for the grinders that we've got. This is a really nice way to make sure that your coffee is fresh. That's the other part I forgot to talk about. So the bean, when it's whole bean, is going to be a lot more fresh because it keeps in those oils, those gases that help you give that flavor that you want, and that freshness is maintained within the bean. Again, less surface area, less interaction with the outside elements. So the longer you can leave it whole bean before drinking, the better. So having your coffee whole bean and then grinding it before drinking it is going to give it more fresh of a flavor. If you are not able to do that, that's okay. It's not a huge deal breaker if you're drinking your coffee pretty quickly. I wouldn't keep coffee ground for like months on end, because you'll really notice a decline in the quality and the flavor of that coffee. But that's one of the things I think people notice the most when they buy a grinder, is that, oh, it makes a big difference for me to have my coffee ground fresh in the morning. And you'll notice with our coffee especially that it's very staticky, and I've had some people mention this to me because it's a little messy, but that's a sign of freshness in our coffee, which is really nice. It's similar to when we pour a pour over, like Steph was showing us before, and there's a lot of bloom. That's another sign of freshness. It's kind of a nuisance, but it's a delicious nuisance. So the other thing I want to talk about really quickly is, so we talked about curbside. You can pick up after 11 with 2 hours notice, and from 11 to 5. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, and starting on Monday. We're not doing that today or tomorrow, unfortunately, and we're not open on Sundays. But on Monday, you'll be able to pick up at 11 with 2 hours notice. You can have all the goodies from in our store, from online, all the things your heart's desire, your stomach, your mouth also. I want to draw attention also to our baskets. We've got those online. now, so you can see some of the examples of things that we can make. We've got those lettered, so you can be like, oh, I really liked basket D. I'd like one of those, but with this kind of coffee in it, please. So those are just examples. They're not exactly like that, but we try and keep them very similar. We can work with your specifications. Administrative Assistant Appreciation Day is coming up, so for your admins, get them some goodies. There's also Mother's Day around the corner. I know there's birthdays and baby showers, and you know, quarantine sucks, but we still gotta do it, so here's a basket. All kinds of reasons to get people baskets. And you can get those from cuppers.ca. You can get them by calling us in store, 403-380-4555. We'd be happy to talk with you for so long because we miss you so much. And I think that's almost all the things that I have to mention today. Were there any other questions or comments that you guys had? I'm gonna wait so that the light can catch up. Sip my coffee. How are you guys doing?
You crack me up, Dorothy.
Yeah, I'm okay too, thanks. I'm making it. It's day by day, you know. It's good though. I'm happy to be here with my friends.
Yeah!
She's my friend.
That's what happens.
Any comments?
Yeah.
Right on. Thanks so much for tuning in today, you guys. I like that there's no comments because it means I gave you a comprehensive list of all the things you could have thought to ask. Thanks again so much for tuning in and keeping us in business and drinking so much coffee. I love you all. Stay home, stay safe.